Hello everyone, welcome back to your English class. Today we will be doing Block 3 S1, that is author's purpose. Now when a person writes anything or an author writes something, there is always a purpose to why he is writing this. So we will be discussing about three main reasons why the author writes anything. The first one is to persuade. I'm writing something to persuade a person. For example, an advertisement. When I write a book to persuade someone, or when I have an advertisement to persuade someone, it means I want them to start following what I do. So, for example, in an advertisement, we see so many advertisements on the television these days. For example, let's take the advertisement of your Fair and Lovely cream. It advertises that a dark person would become fair in just 7 days. Now you will see in many areas, people who are dark tend to buy this cream and use it thinking that they will become fair just because they have seen the person in the advertisement becoming fair. So this is an example of persuasion, or how the author or the production person tries to persuade someone. The second one, or the second reason an author writes, could be to inform someone. So for example, if the author wants to inform you about something, he could do this in many ways. He could do it by giving you directions, maybe to make a delicious cake. He could give you directions, maybe to show you the way to school. So when we talk about to inform, the author writes a book informing you maybe about a recipe. So over here, informing mostly deals with recipes. It teaches you something new. It also could give you directions. Now the third way that why an author writes is to entertain. After a very, very tiring day, many of us, we like to read some light magazines, a comic book, maybe a light novel. So this becomes under entertainment. So the author writes books to entertain us. It could be a comic book like Tinkle. This is something which we all have read. And sometimes when we look at the pictures and when we read the story, we start laughing, or sometimes we start crying. So this comes under entertainment. So remember the three most important purposes why the author writes. The first one is to persuade, the second one is to inform, and the third one is to entertain. Now let us compare the two lessons, that is A Day in the Life of a Washerman and Chakravarti Investigates. We're going to compare it. So first, let's take the genre of the lesson. What type of lesson it is? So, A Day in the Life of a Washerman is a non-fiction lesson. That means that the story gives us information about events or people. So over here, we already know that the story tells us about the day in the life of a washerman. It gives us all the events, what he does in that one particular day. Whereas Chakravarti Investigates is realistic fiction. That means that the story actually occurs to people in a realistic setting. It could happen to any person. Maybe a person could be like Chakravarti, a young boy could be like Chakravarti, and he may want to become a detective. So that is your realistic fiction where the events actually occur to people in a very realistic setting. It could be very, very real. The setting is very real and the events are also very, very real. We can connect to them very easily. Now, when you look at the pictures from both the lessons, A Day in the Life of a Washerman and Chakravarti Investigates, you will see that in A Day in the Life of a Washerman, the pictures are real pictures. They are real photographs. So you can write over there real photographs. Whereas in Chakravarti Investigates, you would see that these pictures are drawn pictures. They are imaginary or they are made by another person. They are drawn pictures. Now, let's discuss about the author's purpose. In A Day in the Life of a Washerman, this lesson tells us how a washerman spends his day. So this lesson indirectly is informing us how a washerman spends his day. So the purpose of this lesson is to inform, whereas the lesson Chakravarti Investigates is to entertain us. When we read Chakravarti Investigates, we feel very happy, we feel excited. We also may want to follow his footsteps. So you can write that Chakravarti Investigates could be also a lesson written to persuade the readers. So both entertain and persuade are correct for that lesson. Now when we talk about the characters in both the lessons, we see that A Day in the Life of a Washerman has real characters. They are very, very relatable to us. The characters are very real. We see a washerman in our life every day. So they are real people. But in Chakravarti Investigates, you would find that the characters are imaginary. They are made up. Now, what are the features of both the lessons? Now, if you notice in A Day in the Life of a Washerman, we see features like real photographs are used, and we also see time order words. These are the features of A Day in the Life of a Washerman. Whereas in Chakravarti Investigates, we find that the pictures are not real. They are drawn pictures by another person. So this was the comparison between the two lessons, and I hope you have understood. Now, how can I say the lesson A Day in the Life of a Washerman is different from a biography? So over here, we come to know that A Day in the Life of a Washerman and a biography, they are similar in some ways and they are different in some ways. So they are similar because both of them give us the facts and events of a person's life. Both tell us about a person's life, the facts of a person's life, and the events of a person's life. The only difference is that a biography talks about facts and events, and it focuses on the entire person's life. It does not focus about just one day. It focuses on the entire person's life. Whereas if you see in the lesson A Day in the Life of a Washerman, it tells us only about one day, not the entire life of the washerman, but just one day. So this is your difference between A Day in the Life of a Washerman and a biography. So remember, A Day in the Life of a Washerman tells us the facts and events of the washerman, but it only talks about a single day in his life. Whereas a biography also tells us the facts and events of a person, but it tells us about the person's entire life. So that's all for today. I hope you have understood today's topic. Now, for your home assignment, I would like you to do S1, which is on page 21. Once you're done with S1, please do question number 2, 3, 4, and 6 from your content book. Please do it into your notebook. The questions are quite easy. If you have any problem, you can always call me or message me on my number. So stay safe and happy learning. Bye bye.